Welcome back, guys, to part 3 of a 3-part series of tearing down this 200A Coleman lantern and cleaning it and putting it all back together. So this part we are going to be reassembling all of the parts now finally. Alright, so now I'm going to move some of these parts off to the side and we're going to get started with putting this valve back together. Because first step we're going to be doing is getting the fount ready to go, and then we'll just build off of that. You may hear some sounds in the video. I have a lot of bugs, mainly June bugs, running into my garage door. So hopefully it doesn't, my phone doesn't pick it up too much, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so we have a 5/16 inch wrench. Go ahead, grab our parts. Spring goes through here first. Goes back into the fuel pickup. And this just screws right to the bottom of the valve. You just want this hand tight. You don't want it much tighter. You don't want to ruin anything. Just needs a good seal. All right, next up we'll put this into the fount. All right, so we have our fount here. We'll go ahead and lower the valve into there. We'll get this hand tight, and then we'll move over to the vise. All right, so we got it hand tight right now. We'll move it over to the vise. We're gonna wanna tighten it to where the valve kind of lines up between the E and the M. That's right about the center line of where we left off. When we took it apart, that's about where it was. All right, here's our vise. I put a microfiber cloth onto it just to make sure that we don't scratch these brass parts. So we'll just get it snug. It doesn't need to be cinched tight or anything like that. Nice and snug. And we will go ahead and start tightening it. All right, I'll take a look here. We're almost there. So that looks pretty close to where it needs to be lined up. Take it out. You'll see it lined up pretty good right in the center. All right. I'm just gonna take my microfiber cloth and wipe it down, all those fingerprints I just put onto it. All right, next step we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and put the collar on. All right, you have to be careful with this. Don't want to bend it too much. All right, so the collar is on now. All right, with the collar on, we're gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna go ahead and put these washers back into place. There's 2 washers, one for the back and one for the front. And then next up we're gonna do is we're gonna put the generator on. So I'll move this off to the side. And we're gonna put the generator back together. Step 1, we're gonna put the tip back onto the generator. We're gonna take my adjustable wrench. Just make that nice and snug. There we go. And normally you'd have another spring and generator tube packing to put in here. Normally the tube packing just fits over the spring and you put the spring in. I couldn't get it out of this, so I just cleaned it with it in there. We'll take our tip cleaner, gently put it through. Leave just a little bit out there. And we'll take our nut over the top, and that's ready to install. So we'll do that next. All right, now that we have our fan back over here, we're gonna put the tip cleaner up, and we're gonna fit our rod in there, slide it down, and we'll go ahead and tighten the nut. All right, and that should just be a 7/16. So we'll go ahead and tighten that. Alrighty, and all these parts are just snug. They don't need to be cranked down. If you crank them down, you can ruin the parts. Alrighty, so now that that's all put together, we'll go ahead and move this off to the side. We'll work on to the frame. All right, with the frame, I never disassembled this, so this should be pretty easy to put back together. Normally what you do is you'd put this nut all the way to the bottom, and then when you screw it back up in there, you tighten this nut back up just to keep it in place. So we'll go ahead, put that there, and then one of these sides has threads, the other side doesn't. So we'll put the thread side right here, just like that, and this just fits in between that. Now this will go up underneath and thread into this elbow here. Make sure it's all lined up. Nice and tight. All right, then we're gonna grab our 5/8" wrench. Just gonna put that up in there, just give it a little snug. There we go, that's nice and snug down. And that is our frame. All right, this next part, we're gonna put the frame on top of the collar. So it just goes through that hole there. You can line up your generator with the gas tube. There's a little hole right up in here that fits in. And that's set into place. We'll make sure our collar is lined up. All right, our collar is all lined up. Go ahead and get our frame nut. Gently put that on there. All right, we'll make sure everything's still lined up. Take our 7/16. Just tighten that down. Nice and snug. There we go. Now it won't move around on there and the collar won't move. We will go ahead and put our gas cap on for right now. We'll go ahead and put our valve wheel on. So we'll go ahead and shut the valve. We'll take our faceplate and our screw, and get it lined up. This next step, we're going to be working on putting the check valve back in and putting the pump in. Just like in the first episode, we're going to take our check valve removal tool. We're going to thread this into the check valve. Then we're going to take our tool, put it over like that. Fits perfectly into place. Thread our nut onto the end, and then we'll be ready to install it. So we're going to go ahead and install this. Make sure it threads in all right. Don't want to cross thread any of that. Snugs up like that. Let's take our wrench, make sure it's nice and snug. You don't want to over tighten it because it can make it leak air. So we'll go ahead and take all this out. We'll set our tool off to the side. All right, this next step, we're going to go ahead and put our valve stem in. If I can get this right, let's see here, where is that? Gotta line it up. Normally it takes me a second to find it. There it is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put our pump in. Our pump has been soaking in oil during the past few days. So we'll go ahead and get some of that off of there so I don't spill it everywhere. Go ahead and put that in. There we go. Gotta line the collar up with the holes. And we should be able to put our clip back on. At this point, you can put a mantle on it, burn the mantle, fill it with fuel, and make sure it runs correctly. At the end of this video, I'll show you it running and hopefully all back together. But we're going to go ahead and finish putting this back together without the mantle. So the next step here is going to be putting the globe on. I like the orientation of the Pyrex logo just being in the front. We can go ahead and put the top hat on. Make sure it's all lined up. I had to move the camera back so we can get a better picture of putting the top hat nut on. Go ahead. There's that. And then the last piece is just putting the bail on. And there you go. There is a complete Coleman 200a. So here's the lantern. You can see it right up in there. all nice and clean. The whole lantern's nice and clean. The lantern's all nice and clean and ready to burn. All right, so I already have it pumped up. I filled it with fuel. I burnt the mantle. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started. All right, so I have all the lights turned off. You can already see the bugs trying to come to it, but you can see it runs pretty good. There's always the little hiccups with starting it for the first time after cleaning all these parts. Just sorted away after getting it started. And it seems to do pretty good. All right, guys, that concludes part 3 of the 3-part series of cleaning a 200A Coleman lantern. If you guys like this video, consider liking and subscribing. The next video, I'll be hopefully doing a Coleman 200A kerosene conversion and going over the process and steps to do that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.